Hello and welcome. This week in our library, or in this week in our classes, on our virtual classes, we're doing the Theraband, and we would like you to give you a little introduction to what's the band, because there's so many different kind of colors out there. There's the black, there's the blue, there's a red, there's a yellow. In the end, it doesn't really matter. If you work with the Theraband, you can hold it in between two hands, and when you want more resistance, you bring your hands a little closer. And if you want less resistance, you bring your hand a bit more far away. So in between, you can always change it. Sometimes I wrap it around my wrist or my hand, and then you decide how much resistance you need for which exercise. Hannah, what about the length? How long should the Theraband be?
Well, there's different brands that make different things. So that's why Chris was talking about the different colors. So there's Theraband, that's a big brand, but there's all sorts of elastic band sorts of brands and firms that make it. They come in different lengths. We like a relatively long band. Ours is about 2 meters long. That's good to know. Another thing to know is that there's a couple little safety things that you should be watching out for in your band. Make sure that your band stays not brittle. So if you're not using it very often, you might want to check to make sure that there's no little rips and tears in there, because when you're working with it and you pull it apart and that tears, that could be not only really uncomfortable, but it could be a little bit dangerous depending on where the rip happens and what exercise you're doing. So sometimes we recommend to put a little bit of powder on it. A little bit of baby talcum powder would work.
Yeah, it's the same thing. If you haven't been using it and it's just like kind of together, it's really sticky, you can wash it with dish soap, let it dry, and then again with a little bit of baby powder, but make sure that you don't do it in your studio on laminate or parquet, because the powder has the tendency to make it really slippery. I have one last thing, I guess, then Hannah, if you have one last thing, is when you work with the Theraband, for example, when you place it around, you want to do some arm work and you place it around your feet, I prefer that keeping it flat like that. So, because sometimes it's then that it rolls in, and then the chance that it's going over the toes is quite high, and then you don't want to have it in your face. So it's just like this. Keep your feet flexed, because then what happens when sometimes this one, now I place it really good, but sometimes it can roll, if you know what I mean. So it's just a little safety thing.
Yeah. But we love the band. We think it's a great way to add some resistance into any one of your workouts. You could get creative by yourself and see what you could come up with. We're going to be over the next few weeks uploading a couple ideas that you could do with your band. And if you're looking for many different workouts, then why don't you check out our membership? We have full-length classes, we have live stream classes with the band, and we have very short little, let's say, movement snacks to keep you up and running. Also great to travel with. So lots of good ideas for you. Have a wonderful rest of your day, and thanks for hanging out with us.
Thanks for joining. Bye.